So what are the common denominators you've seen for the military and them transitioning out of service? We've done the show for a year now. We had amazing guests. Somebody watching, like, what's your big takeaway that you've learned?
I think that the loss of identity was one of the biggest areas that we saw in it, because it wasn't just affecting the service member, it also affected the family members as well. And seeing the different ways people kind of worked through that, and there's still some people working through it. But I think that knowing that there are others who have done the dance and figured out a way to find that unity and teamwork on the civilian side and get a new identity is a really good thing that we've been able to discuss.
Is it surprising too that how open people are telling you probably their most private fears in this podcast form, in the media form, and just being able to like air it out in public space? On the flip side, they didn't do that, right? In the military, they were told to keep quiet, do your job. And then now we have this platform and you're on social media. We're talking to some of these high-level people, high-level individuals, and they're just spilling out their guts, sharing the most vulnerable things like mental health, the struggle to find identity, and then also just like the realness of the situation.
You know, the thing for me is, one, I am so extremely proud that they feel safe and comfortable to be that open with us, to be willing to discuss these topics, because it has been, the world is a hush hush. We don't talk about bad, scary things. It's better that way. And then people feel alone and lost. And so the fact that someone is willing to talk about their experience in this story gives them that chance to see that they are not stuck alone, that there is a way to get through it, to handle it. They're not the only person experiencing it. So I've been so gracious, just blown away with the candidness that our guests have been willing to share with us, and in the end share with the audience, because that is huge and it impacts. And it's also one of the ways that we acclimate that transition from that service member, quiet world, to civilian world. Hey, I need some help.
What piece of advice would you give somebody who is about to leave the military and go into the civilian world?
At the end of the day, the top three things that we have heard that have been huge are a strategic plan, setting plan forth, setting you up, getting ready, financially prepare yourself for the change, because there are going to be little loopholes that you're going to run into. And three, give yourself grace. It may not go exactly how you plan it to be. That's okay. You can always come back, realign, get on a new path. And that might be even better than what you thought the first one was going to be.
Do you think finances is one of the biggest struggles when coming out of the military? Do you think it's because they had a steady paycheck? What would your actionable be there for like somebody about to leave? And we had a guest talk about the financial part of things, but like what have you learned for among all these guests about their finances?
Here's the deal. It doesn't matter whether you're military or not. Finances are always a high stress topic. It's an emotional topic. It's something we deal with, and we've got to understand. It is a very different world when you're used to those steady paychecks from the military and you go to the civilian side. Depending on where you go, you might not be getting those anymore. I think that what we have to do is we have to have honest conversations, reach out to those resources. There's groups out there that help you plan, that know far more than I do about finances, so that you won't feel that you get lost in the shuffle, and you'll be able to feel like you've got some stuff moving forward.
We had some guests talk about mentorship when they're leaving the military, going into the civilian world. How important is that? And what have you learned from some of the shared experiences? You know,
I think mentorship is huge. For me, even not being in a military position, just mentorship helps you grow throughout life. So I think it's really key. Now, we've seen some success stories where there have been people who didn't have a mentor and were able to figure it out. But even those have said to us, man, looking back on it, it would have been nice to have someone guide me. So I think that's really essential to help. And when you have someone who's been through what you're going through, that helps so much. That's such an easier conversation than someone who's just telling you how to step forward.
Another common denominator we've noticed is serving. Like a lot of these veterans in the military, when they leave the military, they get depressed, they go through a lot of mental health, and a lot of them have said they've gotten over that by serving and helping someone else. What's your take on that?
No, one of my favorite things is hearing how strong our veteran and military family community is and how it's continuing to grow and how much better we're getting supporting each other. And it is those veterans and military families coming back and stepping to serve the others coming out that really is what emboldens that.
The veteran community here in Las Vegas is pretty huge. Are you shocked how big it is and how much support it gets from each other and different communities and different niche businesses have different veterans, and it's just very diverse? In
all honesty, I'm not surprised. The military community is so steadfast and strong with its own and united. And especially here being in Las Vegas, Nevada, no state tax. Those states tend to have a stronger veteran community in them because the advantage of not having to pay that tax. But what I love seeing is how many veteran-owned businesses unite and connect with each other to support others moving up, stepping out, going their distance. And I have seen such an amazing resurgence of dedication from so many companies for the military families in this area, no matter the type of company, whether it's small or it's a medium size or even a bigger. And that has just been fantastic to watch grow.
There's been a lot of military people who become real estate agents and salespeople. Does that shock you?
I think that shocks a lot of people when a veteran goes from that military world into a more creative or sales position. But I think it is that freedom of not being stuck in the box anymore and being able to control their own destiny and being able to build the success or not. That's what makes it so attractive to them. So no, I'm not too surprised, but my dad also did sales and was creative and sang and acted. So I kind of saw it firsthand.
What are some of the resources that the military can go to when they're transitioning? I know you have some on your website. What are the ones that we have up to date right now?
So there's a lot of different places you can go. If we're talking career-wise, whether you are a veteran or the military spouse, there's places like the MSEP program, which is the Military Spouse Employment Partnership that's handled by the DoD. We also have Recruit Military, which is a company that is basically run by veterans and military spouses, helping them find their next career or where they're going. There's also groups like Blue Star Families. Some people think Blue Star Families is only for those families who have lost a loved one to service. That's not the case. They help out in a variety of ways. If you have your spouse is deployed and you are trying to deal with bills and stuff going on, Blue Star has programs for you to be able to get the assistance you need while your service member is deployed so they can stay focused on their security and what they need to do. A lot of companies like mine, the Act One Group, will do resume writing, career transition workshops, kind of guide you through so you understand. If you haven't interviewed for 20 years, it's going to be a little different the first time you interview. So those are really great resources to reach out. If we're leaning on the financial side, you have the usuals. Navy Federal Credit Unions talked about how they help people with the saving and the guiding on the site. And then we also have First American Federal. I think I'm saying that right. That was founded by a veteran, and it's financial services for military families. And a majority of the employees are veterans themselves, so they understand how those finances change and work with it. So those are some of the ones that have stepped up and stepped out. And I mean, when you're talking mental health awareness, there are so many options out there. There are a lot of great little nonprofits that maybe you're not ready to go big league. One Life Organization by B. Taylor's a pretty big, sizable one, and they help a lot of people with what they do. But we also have those smaller ones, like 22 Warriors Foundation, where they're just fighting to help prevent that suicide from one more person. And then you look at the Invisible Enemy, where Dave Crete and his group are fighting for those who served out at the test site, and they need to get those benefits and coverage for their medical. So there are big boys, but there are also some of those more smaller fish in your local areas that you can lean on that will guide and help you as well.
And they have it all on your website, right? You have all these links?
Yes, we do. And if we are missing a link, we tell everybody, shoot us an email and let us know. We'll make sure we get it up there for you.
All right. Any last tips, words you have to the audience?
You know, it has been an amazing year running this and getting to talk to so many people and hear their stories. And we have so many more stories we have yet to tell. And we are so excited to get to tell them all. So I want to praise those military families for what you've done, I want to thank you for everything you are doing. And I want you to know that we are here and we're going to continue getting those resources out to you and having your story told.
Faded photographs, covered now with lines increasing, tickets torn in half.